And I told her, after laughing, that every word I just said, I learned from the Hogan's Heroes sitcom on television when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people learn German from Hogan's Heroes. You're listening to Improv-ing Business on Web Talk Radio. I'm Brandon.
And Rick.
And today we'll be talking about global business and Italian speeding tickets. Are you thinking about expanding your small or mid-sized business overseas? Usually this excitement can be overshadowed by the anxiety of not knowing how to begin. International business is a very tricky problem. Not only do you have to deal with different taxes and governmental requirements, you also have to think of entirely different local customs and cultures that are going to influence how business is done. We'll be talking about how to deal with international business, the struggles therein, and some resources you can utilize to get your international journey started.
We're going to be talking about 3 stories today that will have an application to business. The first story takes place several years ago in Italy, where I was driving in a rent-a-car with my cousin Adolfo, who lives outside of Cosenza in Murano Principato. He cautioned me to slow down. He said, "You're not driving out the Autobahn like you were a couple days ago, because Italy actually has speed limits, and they will give you tickets. And many of these tickets are done through these cameras, so you don't know about it until you get home in the United States." So I decided to slow down and stay under the speed limit, and they seem to have 2 or 3 speed limits. I never knew which one to drive under.
Yeah.
And a police officer came up, and he passed me up. And so, everything was cool. And it was only 2 lanes on this Autostrada in southern Italy. And the police officer went ahead of me by about maybe a quarter of a mile or less. And he's in the left-hand lane, and I'm on the slow lane. And I look at my rearview mirror coming behind me, and it was a small Alfa Romeo way back there. But it was moving. It was going very fast. And as it got bigger and bigger, it went into the left-hand lane and passed me right up. And I went, whoa, this guy's going to get nailed, because he's just racing through this thing way above the speed limit. And there's a police officer that he is actually coming up on the left-hand lane. This Alfa Romeo gets up to the police car, and he flashes his lights. And the police car moves over the slow lane, and the Alfa Romeo takes off past him.
Wow.
And I turned to my cousin, and I said, "I thought you said that there was a speed limit here, and that you're not supposed to speed and the police will give you tickets." And he said, "Well, they know some of the local people here, and they let them get by."
So, by local people, he meant local organized crime members?
Yes, actually, he used the term mafioso.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cut and dry right there.
That's a good example of custom and local custom and people in the area knowing things that you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Who not to cross.
The next day, we left in the car and drove up the Autostrada, being very careful not to speed, because again, I was warned. And we were going to Rome to drop off our rent-a-car because we were actually going to fly out. I guess we were going to fly to London, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
But we got to Rome late at night, 12 midnight, and I was picking up the speed a little bit. And we got into the city of Rome using our maps or our iPhones to find out where we're going.
Exactly.
We always did. It actually worked out pretty well throughout Europe.
Which you give me a lot of criticism for doing here.
Right. Well, I still use maps.
Regular, old paper maps.
That's right. That's right.
Analog maps.
It's actually a type of intelligence to be able to fold those things correctly.
Yeah. I'm terrible at spatial puzzles. It's not my thing.
If you want to drive me crazy, just tie me to a chair and fold a map backwards.
Yeah.
So we get into Rome, And we drop you guys off, you remember, at the hotel, and your mom and I went to drop off the car, and we're using this map thing. And again, we're an area we don't understand. It's we've been to Rome before, but I've never driven a rent a car in Rome before. And so we have to drop this thing off, and we have the coordinates of the address of where we're going, and we get to this area, and the coordinates send us to this abandoned park.